Hello and welcome. This is Fireworks. COVID-19 has left in its wake a public health emergency and an emerging economic meltdown that is testing the resolve and creativity of leaders around the world. In Nigeria, it has also caused a major upset with the budget, following the slide in oil price to an all-time low of between $27 to $25 per barrel. What are the consequences and what are the responses? We'll be speaking with someone who is in the throes of decision-making as we speak. Welcome to the program. Let's take a moment. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying tuned to Fireworks. Today, my guest is the senator representing Osun East Senatorial District, Senator Francis Fadaunsi. COVID-19 or COVID-19, as it is called, has left a lot of problems in its wake. One of which is the price of oil falling to an all-time low. And has this created a budgeting problem for the executive and by extension the legislature?
Well, the former budget was 10.6 trillion. That was when the price of crude oil was 62. That's the benchmark. Now, it has gone down to 25. You have seen the gap. Automatically, the budget had to be reduced by 1.5 trillion. So the effect is huge on everybody, including the economy. And until the virus has disappeared, automatically things will still remain the same, and everybody will bear the brunt.
So in the interim, what creative ways is the legislature helping the executive to think of how to fund the budget?
If you look at me or my colleagues, particularly those of few of us who retired and we could speak, we have already told the government that there is no need to borrow money. If we look seriously inward, it's a pity this virus has affected our trade relationship with China, which is the origin of
some of the funds.
The funds, that's the loan, then the virus. Now that it has been like this, I don't know whether China still has the power to release the $17 billion they wanted to give us. If that is the case, automatically the government can look inward. If federal government looks into all the parastatals, the revenue agencies, as I suggested, and as my other colleagues suggested, they are serious about gathering serious revenue drive here. Automatically, Nigeria doesn't need to borrow money.
But then they are not looking to your suggestion. The Senate recently approved a $22.8 billion loan for the executive, and Nigerians believe that this approval is shrouded in secrecy. Can you relatedly tell us what happened at the budget defense when the media was asked to exit so that deliberations can go on without the prying eyes of the media? What happened?
There's nothing secret in our discussion. Automatically, by the time we finished the executive meeting, we came out again to address you. And,
to tell the media what you want the media to know.
No. That Nigeria is in a critical situation, economic situation.
If there was nothing secret, why did the media have to
automatically exit? Anytime we want to have an executive meeting to interact with ourselves, we ask
this is a budget defense.
It's not necessarily a budget defense. You know, we talk of many things. We talk of welfare. We talk of whatever we have noticed within some period. We want to interact with each other.
Did the APC-dominated Senate need to appeal to the PDP senators to also approve or to go along with the resolve or the decision to approve the loan to the executive, the $22.8 billion loan?
Well, you see,
You are a PDP senator, so
I'm a
did they
PDP
approach
senator.
you? Did they appeal to you in
Automatica-
kind or in cash?
Automatically, you know the majority carries the vote here. There's nothing we can do about that. If they are majority and they have decided to do it, the majority will always talk, they will oppose, as been done by our leader. But the majority will always carry the day.
But you had just said earlier on that you suggested that the executive should look inwards, that
That
it
is-
was not a time to borrow.
And that is our own suggestion when there was no way out.
But something happened along the line that the media had to exit the budget defense.
What we said was, one, that loan, if we have been told before, and we have been shouting, you yourself, you are aware, that there are a lot of avenues you can generate money. Let me tell you, the other time they said custom generated 1.345 trillion. We now told them, it's not me, there are many functionaries, many people are experts that said, okay, oh, custom can generate more than that. Inland revenue can generate more than they are doing. Nimasa, of recent they sacked their boss. Nimasa makes money in hard currency. We have not heard of what Nimasa has made to be made public. You people did not go there and say, how much have they made? NPA there makes money in hard currency. You have not gone to the little girl there saying, Madam, how much is the federal government money you have made? It is what they like, they declare. Can you even, you get to immigration. Immigration makes money. Have you ever gone to immigration? How much have you made from all the passport here and there that you have already done? There are a lot of avenues that money comes into Nigeria. We always face custom and oil. You know, I've not mentioned NNPC, what they have made. NNPC can only make money after selling crude oil almost on credit. Later, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 30 days bill of collection. Their money can come back. But with these people, what they can make is better than what we are borrowing. It is now that we have now told them that we should look more inward rather than to be borrowing to fund our budget.
But your suggestion was not heeded. I return to the issue again. Rather, the approval for the loan was given in circumstances not open to the media upon the request, in fact, the demand of the Senate that the media exits the room. I ask again, distinguished, what was promised the opposition to support the approval of the $22 billion
My own problem with
loan?
you is that you don't understand how National Assembly works. Where you have clear majority, the little minority can do is to contribute and oppose. Where is either the nay or yes. If the yes, you know, opposition will always be nay. If the yes have it, what will you do? Will you go to court?
That's not the answer to the question.
That's the answer.
That's not the answer to the question.
Well,
Well, we'll make progress since you have refused to answer the question. In these hard times, is it justifiable for the National Assembly to go ahead with the decision to spend 37 billion naira for the renovation of the building, the structure? I
think that question.
Amidst these challenging times that you are advising the executive to look inwards following the slide in the price of oil and the attendant difficulty in funding the budget?
I think that question should be rightly put to the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, who is the owner of the building. Because what we were told was
it can also be put
is
to an official of the assembly who occupies the assembly, who works at the assembly, who draws his salary from the assembly, which happens to be you.
I'm not a principal officer
on this platform.
I'm still a newcomer. But the workings of the National Assembly is what I'm telling you, particularly on that 37. Where is even the 37 billion now? Coronavirus has affected the whole budget. Hardly can they get half of what they have voted because the budget has gone down. Will I stay in the National Assembly and the whole thing keeps it? You have been coming to the National Assembly, you have seen what is going on there. And they have not told you what they want to do with the money. Because we ask questions. It is not the renovation of National Assembly alone. By the time you come in, you see a lot of buildings that is up and they are all abandoned, both left and right. That is part of the package. And it is the National Assembly buildings are constructed. The plan and everything, approval and the construction and the spending are always from, the maintenance are always from our budget, but it is done by the landlord, which is Minister of Federal Capital Territory.
Oh, interesting. Wouldn't you lead by example at these times and manage what you have as you always enjoin Nigerians to do?
That is why we are managing what we have.
So won't you recommend that that fund be invested in other sectors that are in dire need of it rather than for the renovation of the National Assembly?
Like what?
Federal roads?
Mm-hmm. Did you query the money that goes on rail lines and rail coaches and so on? There was a time, just of the recent, you saw the disagreement between the Minister of Minister of Transport and the Minister of Rail Transportation, where the minister complained that most of the money goes to rail line. And how many people are entering rail apart from the road? So therefore, what is going on rail line can be converted into the road. What goes to the National Assembly is not up to 10% of the whole budget.
What about 330 million naira for the purchase of exotic cars?
By who?
By the National Assembly.
I'm not in that administrative this thing. But I don't know how you got about 300 and something exotic cars. By the way, we don't use cars in. It's only one legislator, one jeep. Okay. When you are talking of cars, that is the House of Rep. That question is better put to those House of Rep.
So you believe the amount is justified in amidst these hard times as well?
Your problem is that you will always face National Assembly. National Assembly are the House of Rep, House of Assembly, House of Senate. These are the people who really walk around the whole nation to campaign for their votes. Let me ask you one question. You gave them only one car for 4 years. The ministers that have never gone on campaign, you just pick them on the road. It is at the mercy of Mr. President, maybe donated by the party leaders and so on. These are the people who have never known what is Nigeria. Many of them are brought from abroad. Many of them are just experts on their own there that are not even more experts than Nigerian trained experts that they are brought. But because you could go to Harvard University, Toronto and so on, they are there. These people, as soon as they are made ministers, you see, have you ever seen the convoy of a minister?
Are you saying that because the National Assembly is hard at work during electioneering periods,
yes,
when they win elections,
they
don't need a sermon on prudence? They shouldn't be the ones that should be advocating prudence?
One vehicle per a legislator for 4 years. Whereas, you see these ministers, their heirs and so on, see what they are riding, see the houses they are living. You people should focus your cameras on the minister, the executive, not even these people.
But shouldn't you say we should focus our cameras on all arms of government? Now
you are focusing on National Assembly.
When there's an executive on the hot seat, we would focus our cameras on the executive.
Even there are some of these managing directors of these parastatals, DGs and so on that are using convoy. Have you ever gone to interview them? How did you get about these vehicles? Go and see what they are voting. You have seen, your problem that you have seen the National Assembly all and you have seen what they are doing. Go now and compare what a single minister who has never campaigned, he doesn't know. You are now saying the result of what is happening.
If your office is renovated as Senator Fadamsi, you would gladly occupy the office.
Have you not been to my office?
Okay, you're watching.
Have you ever seen the office of a minister?
You're watching Fireworks, and my guest today is a senator representing Osho East Senatorial District. Let's take a breather. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.